The Iron Range and Bob Dylan. It's a complex relationship. Find out why Dylan Days draws a huge crowd to Hibbing, even as the guest of honor remains a little elusive. Check out the fiery work of glass artist Dan Neff and get to know Charlie Parr. That's next on the playlist.
Funding for the playlist is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Fans in Hibbing and Duluth share a common love for Bob Dylan. The music icon and hometown hero was born and raised in the North. His legacy inspires a whole festival celebrating the arts in Hibbing. Joining me is Linda Strobeck Hawking
Yes.
and Bob Hawking, organizers on the committee of Dylan Days. Thank you both. I know you're here in Duluth celebrating with the Duluth version.
Yes,
and
the Dylan way.
Yeah, and you broke away to be with us tonight, so thank you.
Well, we're happy to be here.
It was nice to be at the brew house, and we listened to the Freewheelers that are going to be playing up in Hibbing during Dylan Days.
That's very cool. So you must be Dylan fans.
Yes.
We better be.
If we weren't, we wouldn't be here.
Yes.
I learned about Bob in college, and I never looked back. And it's one great thing. And my wife got introduced to Dylan back in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. We both have our college stories about Bob Dylan, and they're wonderful stories about people that were really huge fans, and we were listening to Bob. And now that we do this celebration, of course, in Hibbing and at Zimmy's and in the community, we've just really grown to love this music icon that we celebrate every Dylan Days every year.
So what do you think the chances are he's going to come back? I mean, you did a very exciting and fun, come home, Bob. Exactly. So what do you think?
He's been home before.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't want a lot of attention. I can understand that. But we always hope that he'll come. But a lot of people come in his place. And somebody said if he came, maybe it would ruin everything. I don't know. But everyone, we've been educated by the people that come from all over the world. And we started from square one in college, learning about Bob, but we've learned from other people coming from all over the world, educators, musicians, fans, friends, family, all that type of thing. So it's been just one great ride.
We like to call Bob Dylan the Renaissance man because our celebration celebrates all the arts, and he's really that guy. He's not only a musician, but he's a poet, and he also does visual arts, and I'm sure he's tackled, of course we know movies and written books. He's written his biography. This artist that we know as Bob Dylan, or actually in Hibbing, Robert Zimmerman, Bobby Zimmerman, he engulfs all of what we do for Dylan Days, which is the arts, just the arts, and that's so special for us.
Yeah.
Well, we had a chance, you know, when we were asking whether it would be a cold day before Bob returns to Hibbing. We took a ride with a fellow Dylan Days organizer, Aaron Brown, and posed that question: will he come back? So take a look.
And we're going to be going downtown, which is where everyone wants to go, because downtown Hibbing is the Hibbing of Dylan's youth. I think both Dylan and Hibbing have both kind of realized, you know, that you can't have Hibbing without Dylan, you can't have Dylan without Hibbing. They're a lot more connected than a lot of people think. Okay, so this is the big one. Here we are at the house. We're on Bob Dylan Drive and 25th. They painted it blue. It wasn't blue before. It was white when Dylan lived here. And of course, the thing that I'm looking at right now is that they've painted the album cover Blood on the Tracks on the garage. I think the biggest chance you'll get to see Dylan, it'll probably happen like this. You'll be walking down Howard Street and you'll just see him. Okay. So we're back on 7th Avenue now. It's one of the big streets in town because it connects the area where the hospital is, and it goes past the Catholic Church here, which is a big site, and then of course we come up on the high school. You drive up and you see this, it will blow your mind. And that's what happens to a lot of visitors, and they realize that this is where Bob Dylan went to school, and this is a classy, classy place. I think Dylan has kind of tipped his cap to that. Certainly in his autobiography, he talks about the high school and the auditorium. It's one of the few specific local things he talks about, and people want to see it. You know, there was no reason at that time to believe that that kid would have been Bob Dylan as we know him now. And that's one of the cool things for me, why I stay involved, is if that kid can have that career, what other kid could have an explosive impact just by virtue of his creativity or her creativity? You never know. Might be the next big thing, and even if they're not a big thing, there's still some really special experiences in art and music that we create here every year, and that's what it's about. That's what we really go crazy about. We're not hero worshipers, I guess we're art worshipers.
I think there's a lot of nodding in here. Not hero worshipers, but
Oh my gosh, he summed it up well, yes.
yeah. Well, he had the benefit of a little editing, you know. Steve helped a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah. So you brought in a picture. This is how you get involved. You have to buy a button, right?
Yes.
So this picture is actually taken from his first grade, Bobby Zimmerman's first grade photo, right?
Yes. And the story about that, my cousin Gail Stevens, during the class of '59 reunion, said she had a photo of Bob, and I said, really? And she goes, I have a first grade photo, because she followed him. They all kind of followed each other in class through the years. And she said, would you like it? And I said, almost dropped over. I said, for sure. Okay. And it was Bobby at the Alice School in first grade. And he's turned sideways, and everyone else is turned forward. And it's a unique photo. And I just think it's a treasure, and you don't find those things too often. But it's one of those things we kind of add to the celebration, and we use images that we find locally, and I think it makes a big impact on people that he came from such humble beginnings.
And it's the face-to-face. It's the reaction. It's the people who come from all over the world getting to interface with people who grew up sometimes right here.
Yes.
I was telling Bob that the community of Hibbing is what makes Dylan Days. We could sit here tonight and name 3,000 names of the locals that participate and really make this a pleasure, this celebration for the people that sojourn. We call it the Bob Dylan pilgrimage to Hibbing,
Yes.
and without everyone's cooperation and having the whole people like Aaron, Joe and Mary Keys, and again on and on, Leroy Hoykala, it wouldn't be what it is. So the celebration is all about this small town grassroots, and it's really special. And people from New York and London and all over, they come and they don't want to leave.
Well, they get to see a face of the United States that isn't promoted. So I have less than a minute left, so tell me quick. Starting Thursday, all kinds of great things.
Yes.
Literature.
We have
Yeah, it'll be, we're going to pay homage to B.J. Rolfson, Dylan's 11th and 12th grade English teacher, who taught Bob the power of words and the love of words in Shakespeare. And he met Bob a while back. I should say Bob Dylan met B.J. a while back when he was alive, B.J. Rolfson, and said, he said, B.J., you taught me a lot. Yeah. And I thought it was so poignant that, you know, coming from a small town, that he made an influence B.J. So a lot of the celebration is going to pay homage to B.J. Rolfson. A lot of people are coming back for him, and then you can get involved in the music part of it too. And
so I know you're going to say DylanDays.com. So if you can go to DylanDays.com, it really will have the full agenda Thursday through Sunday. So we just please invite everyone to join us in our small community and celebrate Bob Dylan's birthday. Happy birthday, Bob.
Bob,
Yeah.
69.
Yeah, you'll be singing, actually.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Well, thank you both for coming
thanks,
in.
Karen.
And
It was great.
DylanDays.com has all the details of who, what, why, where, when.
Yes.
Great music, great things coming up.
Yep.
So thank you. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Howdy, it's me, Minnie Pearl, and I'm just so proud to be here at Sacred Heart Music Center. And next week, on Thursday, May 27th at 7 p.m., we'll be bringing Duluth Does Opry. There'll be 26 classic country tunes by 26 different local artists. Songs like 16 Tons, Heartbreak by the Numbers, and King of the Road. So remember, y'all be here for a real good time. Sacred Heart Music Center, Thursday, May 27th at 7 p.m. Hope I see you there.
Well, now I am honored to introduce our musical guest tonight. He's one of Duluth's finest. Please welcome Mr. Charlie Parr.
Like a mastodon buried in the snow, I never found his way home. I don't feel welcome around here, I don't feel at home. This old world has brought me low, made me live all alone. Separating the rich and poor. I don't feel welcome around here, I don't feel at home. This old world has brought me low, made me live all alone. Well, when I die, don't you bury me at all. Ain't no coffin, no stone. You can leave me like a mastodon buried in the snow. Someday I'll be found. I don't feel welcome around here, I don't feel at home. This old world has brought me low, made me live all alone.
Well, that tune is part of Charlie's new release, When the Devil Goes Blind. We'll hear more music and meet Charlie Parr after our art profile. Dan Neff is blazing a name for himself in the world of art glass. He creates one-of-a-kind glass pieces with intense color and heat. Just take a look.
I saw how such a fragile medium to most people could become so malleable, something that you could control and manipulate. If I had to think of one word, it would be expression. My name is Dan Neff. I'm a glass artist here in Duluth, and I use a torch and borosilicate or Pyrex glass to create my artwork. All right, here we go. Glass working and torch working especially, patience is a virtue. There's no way around, taking your time. Now, you start to heat it up. So this little plate of glass that I'm using is it's a dichroic image. It's a great way to incorporate things that people can really tie into a piece of glass art, where many times in glass art it's much more abstract, and it's more free form and a little bit more interpretive. But I like to be able to do both with my work. So. All right. So I'll have to keep spinning it, but I can show you a little bit the image of Minnesota in there. And with the work ethic that I learned growing up, I knew that if there was something I really wanted to do, I could put my mind to it, and the only way I'd ever know if I couldn't do it is if I tried. And so even after graduating from UMD and in a degree in outdoor recreation, I said, I've worked harder at learning to blow glass. I put 6 years into that and 4 years into my degree, and I said I'm never going to be satisfied unless I try to make a living at it. My largest marble is about 3.5 inches in diameter, which doesn't sound like much, but it's probably, I'd guess, 5 pounds of glass, maybe 4 pounds. And that was about 4.5 hours of non-stop spinning the glass. You can't work with it with your hands. That's kind of the biggest thing, I guess, that to me differentiates glass and clay, is that this is completely hands-off of the actual piece that I'm creating. So now is the point where I actually look at it. I'm going to let it cool a little bit so that when I flip it up to look into it, the glass doesn't really shift on me. And then I'll have about 2 more steps and it'll be done. Not only am I able to express myself and do something that I love to do, but part of my goal is to share that with others and show them how much I love to do this, and that if they love to do something that much, or they think that they like it that much, then go for it. It's so self-rewarding that I want to convey that message to other people as well.
Dan is completely excited about learning and grateful for all of the teachers that he's met along the way. Now, to pass it on, he will be teaching a class himself at the Grand Marais Art Colony over Memorial Weekend. And you can also see Dan at art fairs this summer in Virginia, Duluth, and Minneapolis. Now, there are other art notes to mention this week, including the DSSO's Music of Queen concert. That's a wild combination of rock and a symphony orchestra. That's Saturday night, 7:30 at the Deck. It's also the last weekend for Bill W. and Dr. Bob at the Playground in Duluth. It's a play about 2 unlikely friends and their battle to beat addiction. All that contact information is available on our website at theplaylistonline.org. You can follow the links, watch episodes, and send in your suggestions for the show. Now again, please welcome Mr. Charlie Parr.
I lived near these tracks almost all my life. Well, there's money in there, rich folks' mail that I never see. There's money in there that I never see. Can't ride no train, bless poor boy rides for free. sleep at night, toss and turn, I'm dreaming about Jesse James. When I sleep at night, I'm dreaming about Jesse James. Ride that train, rolling right away. Yeah, when I lay awake, staring at Ned Kelly's on my mind. When I lay awake, Ned Kelly's on my mind. Pull up them tracks, let them rich folks ride. Put on my hat and got my boots and whispered my wife's name. Put on my hat and whispered my wife's name. Got my 410, I went to meet the train. Well, I'm on the track, my rifle cocked, but she ain't slowing down. I'm on the track, but she ain't slowing down. She ain't gonna stop. Oh, it's heaven bound.
That is so awesome. That is just fun. That is so fun. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
It's an awesome sound. So tell me a little bit about this guitar. It's not your average acoustic guitar.
Not really, no. It's a metal-bodied resonator guitar. It's made by National. The body's made out of steel and it's painted. Inside this big round hubcap-looking part is a thin aluminum cone. It's made like a speaker is made, and when the strings are suspended over that, it vibrates that cone, and all the sound comes running right out of there at you.
So you were born in Austin, Minnesota.
Austin, Minnesota.
You know, hotbed of music.
Real Austin.
The real Austin. I can say Hormel.
Hormels.
Hormels, okay. So tell me about how you got hooked on music. How did you get to here?
My father, when I was a kid, we had a big record player in the house, and he had a big collection of records, and mostly real old country music and folk music and some old blues records I treasured, and I listened to music all the time. We listened to music all the time in the house. When my dad got done with work, he'd come home and he'd put on records, and I still have them. So.
I think that's a gift. That's a huge gift. I know you've been making new music. You've been traveling all over the world, and thank you for coming back to Duluth.
Always.
And being part of this. So we'll look for When the Devil Goes Blind coming out pretty quick.
It should be out sooner than later. I'm hoping this summer, early this summer.
Okay, no pressure. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on you, but you can look for it around town. And thank you so much. If I quit talking, then you have time for your last song.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Thank
you
you
guys,
for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you for watching. Go out, do something great, put something wonderful on your playlist, and have a good night. Thank you.
Funding for the playlist is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and by viewers like you.